You guys are leaving gains on the table because of all these things. I've got so many things to come out of my brain. There's a few things that men more likely do in the gym that I've noticed from my years and years and years in the gym, and being a man myself have noticed. So I just want to share these things with you guys in hope that maybe you can identify some if you've hit a plateau in your training, and this will help you break through those walls and make more gains. The first one is intensity within your training. Coming from a perspective of skills, but even strength work does take a degree of technique. There's a lot of technical work, and when someone pushes the intensity of a skill, the technique usually falls at the wayside. And if this is something you're still working towards, pushing high intensity usually throws technique out the window. If we take something like a tuck planche, this is our position here, straight arms, pushing nice and tall through the shoulders, with the shoulders level with the hips. That's our tuck planche. But if you're not quite there yet, but you are determined to tuck planche, your exercise quality is going to dip down and look somewhat like this. You're going to try to do the skill, arms are gonna bend, you're gonna lose position in the shoulders, come back down, and that was your set. And there's just not much value in pushing for something that isn't there. We have to strip back the intensity. Let's say, let's be very simple in this approach, we're just not raising the hips up as high. So we're starting in our support, we tuck, and we lean only as much as we can, keeping the arms straight. That is a much more appropriate way to scale the intensity of your training so that you're still prioritizing the technique as you work towards the skill. Another, let's just use a lower body example, would be as you're still learning the squat, but you're determined to do 100 kilos as soon as you start the journey. It's gonna break down the technique, and it's not going to look very pretty. It's going to leave you way more open to injury. So dial back the intensity and slowly build up. Yeah, and just come in close on the face. Come in close on the face, that's a good phrase. Next is our frequency and our overall volume. This is basically just staying at a progression for far too long when you should be progressing, looking at it from a strength aspect. We're going to look at push-ups. So if I'm able to do a push-up, now, let's just say I can do lots and lots of push-ups. Let's say I can do over 20 push-ups like this. That is definitely, that's okay. I'm not saying that's wrong. Don't do more than 20 push-ups. But if a lot of your training is very high repetition, perhaps that aligns with your goals, but hear me out here, is a lot of high repetitions, then there's room for you to be making the exercise more difficult so that you're bringing the reps down and you're bringing the intensity up. So if I could do 20 push-ups all the time, there's room for me to make it harder. What could I do? Well, there's two things if we look at a push-up that we can do. We can increase our range of motion. So I can actually jump up on the P-bars, which I will do in a moment, but because we're already on the ground, I can also increase the leverage. So I can turn this into more of a planche push-up. Where my shoulders are stacked above my wrists for a regular push-up, I'm gonna lean my shoulders further over the wrists, and that's gonna make it a lot higher of a burden on my shoulders to perform the reps. And it's going to make it more like a 5 to 10 repetition set. So if you're just hammering out reps of something again, there's chances to increase the intensity so that you can make it more difficult. The other one on the P-bars, we can also increase our range of motion so we can go much deeper into the position. But the whole point here is not contradicting the intensity point. It's that if you're able to perform so many reps that the intensity is barely there, then we have a chance to make it more difficult so that we are forcing our body to adapt to a much greater stimulus. And that is where the results and progression comes from. The next is programming. So you just might be coming into the gym and doing the same things all the time, or coming in without a plan every time you come in. And that is not conducive to gains. What you want to do at the very least is know what you're training and have an idea of where you're going with that. If you're coming into the gym, I'm going to use pull-ups as our example now. We come in and we do 5 repetitions of pull-ups for however many sets, and you never change doing that, you're leaving gains on the table. Is there room to add more repetitions, another set, add weight to the body, increase range of motion, increase the tempo? Think of what progression leads you closer to what your goal is, and train with that in mind, thinking of every session or every second session, you're adding a little bit of progress towards what that is. I'm not here to tell you this is 100% the right thing to do. I'm giving you options, and everyone's different, so there's going to be the right prescription of what to progress for each different person. Going to be different. What am I saying? Progress it. There is no right formula for everyone. Everyone is a little bit different. So pick and choose from what I've told you to what is most geared towards what your goals are. But do something different each time you show up that progresses you towards that.
Holy Mother of God, give me this skill.
And next is exercise selection. Now, exercise selection, along with the intensity, are probably the 2 points that are most likely inhibiting your progress. They almost are one in the same, because the commonality here is picking an exercise that you're just not ready to do and just beating off that dead horse and not being able to do it. If you can't do an exercise, you are likely it's too hard for you. If you're doing things that are too hard for you consistently, the intensity is too high. I'm going to use the muscle up as the example, because that is one of the most common ones that I see. Is we want to get a muscle up, so my training is now attempting the muscle up. That can be a waste of time, and that's not to dishearten your training. That's to just logically take a better approach to achieving the skill. It might seem like a step back because you're not actually performing the skill specifically, but it's the right stepping stones to take to get there, and you'll get there much quicker than just winging your attempts. If your repetitions look like you come up, you go for your muscle up any minute now, and you can't get it, you're pissed off, you want to punch the wall, you're at your fucking job now. But it's likely just not the right thing for you. The steps back from a bar muscle up is just a swinging high pull. You're doing the same movement, just pulling up to the top and trying to capitalize on the right timing of your swing. If you aren't getting good height in that, that's likely too difficult for you. We step it back again to our pull-ups, chest to bar. So that is just a static pull-up, getting to that touch, coming back down after a certain amount of reps and sets. You can then add weight and see if you can get that range of motion with that weight attached to you. After you've done that for a little bit, come back and see if we can do that high pull with the swing. Using a band is another way that you can address that, because it's going to make it a lot more achievable to focus on the technique and get some volume in. But just think, if what you're doing, is it the right exercise choice for where your skill is at and where your strength is at? It's not entirely on you. It's onto people like me that put out educational content to make sure that you know, or at least give you the best chances of knowing how to progress and what to do. But just try and consistently be addressing or having a look at your approach to your training if you're stagnating, and thinking if there's areas that you can improve.
Give me this skill.
Fuck, that gave me a headache. Oh man.